Okay, class, this is our percent proportions foldable. So it's the same as the proportions we've been doing, where you cross multiply and divide. And you have seen this before. It's called is over of equals percent over 100, or we also say part over whole equals percent over 100. Okay? So percent means out of 100, and we always write our percent as a fraction. And remember, at the very beginning of the year when we were converting percent to fraction, you just put your percent over 100. So if we had 25%, we would put it over 100, and we can simplify that down to 1/4. Okay? So we put things in this formula. We plug them in where they belong. Okay? So up here, and that'll make more sense once we practice it. But up here, let's look at this one. Okay? So we're missing the part is. So in this formula, is over of equals percent over 100. We're missing the is. So since we don't know what it is, we're going to put a variable for it. Okay? So it says, find the missing part. What is 45% of 230? So my of, or my whole, is 230. So I'm going to find out what part of 230 is. And that's going to equal 45% over 100. Okay? So the hardest part about this is just going to be setting it up, and then you've already been practicing how to cross multiply and divide for a week now. Okay? So what you're going to do is take 230 times 45, and I'll go ahead and tell you that that gives you 10,350, and that's going to equal, when we cross multiply this way, we're going to have x over 1, or x times 100, which we're going to write as 100x. Okay? So then to get x alone, we have to divide both sides by 100. Now, you can go ahead and divide 10,350 by 100, but anytime you divide a number by 100, what you're going to do is you're basically taking the decimal point that's right at the end of the number, and you're moving it in 2 spots. So you're going to go 1, 2. So really, 10,350 divided by 100 gives you 103.50. Okay? And you don't even have to write that 0. You could put 103.5. Okay? So in this formula, is over of 103.5, or 103.5, is 45% of 230. Okay? Let's come down here and do this one. Okay, so this is when we're missing the of, or the whole amount. Okay? So we have 70, we want to know what 72 is 30% of what whole number. Okay, so 72 is just part of a bigger number, and it's 30%. So we're going to plug it into our formula right here. So we know that 72 is the part. We're trying to find the whole, and that's going to equal 30% of 100. Okay? So just take your time on this. It's kind of like a puzzle. You just kind of got to read and figure out where you're going to put it into the formula. And then you're going to cross multiply and divide. 30 times x, we can't do that, so we're going to write it as 30x equals 72 times 100. A good way to do this is cover up your zeros and say 72 times 1 is 72, and then you're going to add in 2 zeros. I'm going to say 72 plus my 2 zeros. So 30x equals 7,200. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by 30 to get x alone. And that's going to give me x equals, when you're doing these, because you're going to be doing a lot of multiplying and dividing with big numbers, those zeros can help you out a lot. What I can do here is I can cross a 0 off from the top and a bottom. So now I'm down to saying 720 divided by 3. Okay, and I'll go ahead and tell you that it is 240. Okay, so 72 out of 240 gives you 30%. If you took 72 divided by 240, it would give you 30%. Okay, last one. If we're missing the percent, so we know the part in the whole, 124 is out of 3,000, and we're trying to find what percent that is. Okay, so I'm going to plug in my 124, that's the part, out of the whole 3,000 is what percent over 100. Okay, so again, cross multiply and divide. Okay, so I'm going to say 3,000 times x. Since I can't do that, I'll write that as 3,000 x equals 124 times 100. Again, I'm going to cover up my zeros. 124 times 1 is just 124. And then I'm going to add on those two zeros. Okay? Then to get x alone, I have to divide this side by 3,000. If I divide that side by 3,000, I have to divide this side by 3,000. Okay? These will leave me with 1x. And that equals, now here again, you can cancel zeros. So there's a 0 here that I can cancel with a 0 down there. And there's a 0 here, and I can cancel it down there. So now I'm doing 124 divided by 30. Okay? Well, 124, I know if I do 30, 60, 90, and then 120. So I know 30 can go into 120 exactly 4 times, so it can also go into 124 4 times. 30 times 4 gives me 120, and my remainder is 4. Okay? Now I would have to start my decimals, and I'm going to give you a hint. This one is not a pretty decimal, so I'd rather write it as a fraction. So I'm going to take my whole number, 4. My remainder becomes my numerator, so it's 4 over 30. Okay? Not quite done yet. I can simplify this. I'll leave my 4, and then half of 4 is 2, and half of 30 is 15. Okay? So that is 4 and 2/15% is what 124 out of 3,000 is. Okay? And sometimes you'll have that. You won't always have perfect percents. Okay? I'm glad you got this done, so now we can eat some M&Ms while we do math today.